lubricant your choice. Let's get you behind the wheel of a car you'll love. Minnesota Motor. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
It's Morning Talk on News Talk 1250 KBRF, brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. Now, here's Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop.
Oh, one of those days, Mary.
Followed by one of those nights and days of snow. And I think you and I may be to blame for all the inches of snow that we got after you and I got off the air yesterday.
I claim no responsibility.
Oh, I think you started it.
I did. I'm good. I did not do that.
And we did knock wood, but clearly this Formica does not count because you and I were talking about, really? They were talking about all these inches of snow. I don't think
And
it's
we
gonna
didn't get anything.
happen. Baloney. How many total did we get? Do
We
we
got
know?
7.5.
Oh boy. Well, I used my snowblower more last night and this morning than I have all winter long put together. So I just decided, yeah, we could leave it and, just let Mother Nature do her work.
It's going to be a little bit before Mother Nature can get rid of that.
Yeah, it was kind of deep. And so I did blow some snow quickly. I didn't do a very good job, but I got got the most of it when I got home from work last night. And then, of course, it just kept on snowing and snowing and snowing. And this morning it looked like I never did anything at all. But
Ouch.
but at least I was blowing half the amount of snow this morning than I would have had I left it.
I went out at about 8:30 last night. I had to come in early for Derek's got the day off. He's got a funeral to go to, and
Okay.
so I
So you're a
was in
news
doing
guy.
the news. That's
Okay.
why the top of the hour was kind of all messed up. I was still doing news stuff, and all of a sudden I'm
Okay.
like, oh, hey, there's the
I know
intro. I got to
you
finish things
looked
up.
over at me and went like, oh my goodness, like, are you already here? Is it already that time?
So I went out at about 8:30 last night. I snow blowed about 6.5 inches, and then I looked out when I left this morning. There was probably about another inch or so. So 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and so over on the other side of town we got probably about 7.5, 8
Okay.
inches.
That's what I was thinking too, about 8 inches. And there were a good 6 inches when I blew the driveway out yesterday, but there were another couple at least, and it was just too heavy.
Yeah.
And it was not enough to really need the snowblower, but it was too heavy to shovel too.
Yeah.
And I did the whole thing like in 10 minutes. I mean, I just went round and round. Didn't do a great job, but I'm relying on Mother Nature for the rest. And I was thinking, well, maybe the city is just going to leave this because the plow had not come into our neighborhood as of this morning.
The plows definitely hit the main roads.
But they had hit the main roads, but it's pretty deep in my neighborhood. But as I drove into work this morning, I saw them on the side streets, so I'm sure they're making their
Yeah.
way around. But anyway, in fact, it was so deep that I actually backed around in my driveway so that I could go crashing through the deep snow head first instead of backing out and stopping.
Yeah, Jen's probably not going to like the fact that I'm pointing this out. I told her yesterday that you don't want to park in the back because it's going to be slippery. And
Right.
She's got an all-wheel vehicle for the first
Yep.
time ever, and maybe not ever, but first time in a very long time. And she thought she could park in the back in the worst possible spot you could park. I usually park my Jeep there because
Oh, boy.
my Jeep has no issues getting out of the back.
Right.
But she's got an edge, and because it's all-wheel drive, she thought, oh, I could just drive out of it because she had no problems yesterday. And I'm like,
Right.
that is a very bad spot to park. And sure enough, she's stuck.
Okay. Well, and plus everything is so wet.
Yep, it's just slippery.
And then it's just, it's just like glare ice. So
Yeah.
that's probably why. But anyway, I guess Dave and I will have to take just a little bit of responsibility for yesterday's snow. I thought of you last night as I Now it's 6 o'clock and it's still snowing. Now it's 7 o'clock and it's still snowing.
Yeah, I don't know what time it stopped. I went to bed at about a little
I
after 9
know, I know.
as soon as I got back inside from snow
Yeah,
blowing.
it was crazy. We actually went and sat in the hot tub. We've had our hot tub for about a year and a half. And we have been looking forward to sitting in the hot tub during a snowy
Yep.
night. And we just have never had the opportunity. We just haven't had all that much snow. So last night, for the first time in a year and a half, we got to sit in the hot tub with it snowing on
And the
us.
nice thing is that later on in the day, we had those huge flakes, those like snow
Yes.
globe flakes. Plus, it wasn't
It,
that cold.
right, and it wasn't windy either,
Yeah.
so the visibility never really got to be a big problem. So anyway, I think that we could see a few flakes on and off. I think they said tomorrow, just briefly, but nothing
Yeah.
serious. And I saw 61 by
End of next
later
week.
next week.
Yeah.
So anything that is in your driveway now will be gone by this time next week.
Yep.
I'm not going to guarantee anything, but I'm just saying. All right. Okay. So President Trump announced some more tariffs on global trade partners. This was during a White House event, and he did this last night. And I think specifically and on purpose did it after the markets closed.
Yeah. But
Because
everybody knew it was coming.
they did know it was coming. And, I read a lot about it and I watched a couple of different things. And after listening to the president and doing some reading and not really research, but, um, you know, they interviewed a couple of people. One was a farmer. And in fact, a couple of farmers I've seen, and they said, you know what? Um, we just have to grin and bear it for right now because in the long haul, this is going to be a very good thing. So please put your trust in the president. And that's hard for people to say. Even even people like me who, you know, generally support President Trump and what he's trying to do. But sometimes it's hard. Well, not sometimes, most of
A
the
lot
time.
of times it's hard.
It's hard. But when I heard this farmer talking about, just hang in there kind of a thing. Um, and I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to, as hard as it is, and maybe you can't say it out loud, but I think we need to trust what the president is doing.
We can trust what he's doing, but he has to realize he's got that mandate because everything was so bad under the previous administration. Everybody was hoping for hope that prices are going to come down, and I
Well,
know
and
everybody's saying, and you're saying too, that if you give it time. Problem is, in a year and a half, if there isn't change,
I think it has to happen sooner than that.
the makeup of Congress is going to change pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think you're probably right because um, financially, that's what hurts, Americans the most.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for them to see beyond that. It's hard to know that that struggle might last longer. And so that's what makes it hard, I think. But I think we do have to put some stock in the fact that President Trump is a darn good businessman. He has seen that we have been taken advantage of by all these countries for all these years. And I really believe that now all of these countries that he added in these most recent tariffs announced last night, some of them said, we're going to retaliate. But I will bet you that after they sleep on it for a couple of nights, they're going to say, let's not mess with the United States.
When it came to the tariffs, I'm okay with reciprocal tariffs. Like if
Me
they charge
too.
us this, we're going to
We're gonna
charge them the
and
exact same.
that's what we're going to do.
But I mean, there's some of them you really have to worry about the tariffs on Canada, especially us here in Minnesota when we talk
Yes.
energy.
Yep.
That is going to affect us. So it's one of those things. I'm not exactly too sure what his thoughts were going forward on that. But when it comes to the reciprocal ones, where it's like, hey, if you charge us this, we're going to charge you the exact
Right.
same, I'm all for.
Yep, absolutely. So, but I think there are going to be some of these smaller, obscure countries that obscure just because we never talk about them. Not that they aren't their own great country, but there are going to be some of these smaller countries that we never hear of or talk about, and now they're getting tariffs on their goods. Um, I think we're going to see them probably back down. In fact, they have been warned, retaliation is not going to be looked on very, very well by the United States. And some of these countries are like, I'm willing to bet they're going to say, yeah, don't poke the bear.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, he has declared 10% tariffs for all exporting nations to the U.S. and even stricter tariffs for those who are imposing any sort of trade barriers on U.S. goods. So Trump criticized foreign nations for harming the American dream and vowed to end the decades of what he calls exploitation. And
And there is.
that is the truth.
I'm
Absolutely.
yeah, there's especially like I said, the ones that the reciprocal tariffs, like, hey, you do this, we're going to do it to you too.
Right. Okay. Amazon has submitted a bid to purchase TikTok. What do you think?
I don't think it'll go through.
I don't think it will either.
I don't think anybody's going to buy TikTok.
Well, President Trump had initially pushed for a ban due to a national security concern regarding China, but later granted a temporary reprieve. The potential sale comes and concerns about data sharing with China. Trump is a user of TikTok, previously issued executive orders targeting ByteDance and WeChat. And basically, what they were told is you have to sell or we are no longer going to carry that in the United States. So I don't see ByteDance. I mean, they've dug
they're
their
not
heels
they're
in.
not going to sell it. I mean, the U.S. could say all you want, you have to sell it, or we're going to get rid of it. Unless you get rid of it, they're not going to sell it. And quite honestly, it's so profitable around the country or around the world, they're not going to sell it at all.
Yeah, it is. And it's profitable for the people using it. A lot of businesses use TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go. It seems like it's been a news story
For
about
years.
as long as the regional treatment center has been a
Yeah.
news story. Oh boy. Okay, over 200 passengers on the Queen Mary 2 luxury cruise ship contracted norovirus during a transatlantic voyage. All the more reason
I would
why
never do a cruise.
me neither. I'm not going to say never. I want to do one of those European river cruises.
You don't want to do an ocean cruise.
I don't want to do an ocean cruise. Anyway, I just kind of think those cruise ships are a bit of a petri dish for this kind of stuff.
You like the idea of being able to jump overboard and swim to shore.
Yeah, I think that isn't for me. I don't think I'm a cruiser. President Trump has privately hinted to his advisors, and it's not so privately anymore because it was national news this morning, that Elon Musk may step back from his role in the administration as the Doge employee. I think he will stay. His position requires him to be done in 130 days.
Yep.
So what is he, like 90 days in or something? Anyway, I think he's actually he could be in place till the end of May, or the 20th probably of May. Anyway, I kind of think he won't be going anywhere before then. But something I was talking with someone about yesterday is what happens after 130 days and Elon Musk is no longer, this government employee. Will they continue with Doge? Will they continue to dig for fraud? And the answer is yes. At least according to an NBC News story this morning, that will go on even after Elon Musk is no longer running the show. And I don't know about you, but I kind of think it might be okay to just have some people doing the digging.
Yeah.
Just maybe not have him doing the dancing on stage and all the stuff.
Dancing on stage with a chainsaw celebrating, hey, we fired all these people.
Right. So anyway, I guess we'll see what happens there. And you and I had talked just briefly, I think it was earlier this week, or maybe last week, talking about the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, trying to be this more centrist kind of a guy, because we all know he's going to run for president next time around. I think there's no, we'll take that one to Vegas. But so now he's trying to kind of embrace some of these more Republican kinds of things. And except for this, okay, California lawmakers, they have rejected proposals to prevent transgender youth from participating in sports teams based on their gender identities. So if you're a boy and you identify as a girl, you get to play girls softball. That's what they're saying. Anyway, amid debates, Democratic lawmakers scuttled bills that would have enforced sex-based restrictions on sports participation, arguing for the rights of trans youth. So no change supposedly going to happen in California.
Yeah, but he's trying to go centrist. He still has to apply or appeal to his base to get through that primary.
I suppose, but how you can't, what is it?
California's California.
Can't ride two horses with one butt. Is that how it goes? I think they didn't use the word butt, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you can't be both sides.
You can if you're a politician.
I guess you can.
It's about the only way you can do it is if you're a politician.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, a little bit later in the show, we're going to talk about Easter is just a few weeks away.
Yes.
And you're probably, as Easter is coming up, your kids are talking about the Easter Bunny and all that sort of thing. And maybe, if your tradition was like mine when I was growing up and when I had young kids and grandkids, we all colored Easter eggs.
Yep.
Well, now at $8.97 or whatever they are a dozen, how many Easter eggs are you going to color?
Or are you going to change it up?
Yeah. And how do you do Easter? That's what we're going to talk about for a little bit when we come back on the show. Also, a couple of stories for you. Over half of older Americans feel really held back, and it's all because of the debt that they have acquired. So we'll tell you about that and more, and some Easter talk when we come back on Morning Talk.
Back with more Morning Talk with Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop. Brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. After the markets on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
This is Ryan Welly with the Fergus Falls Monument Company. When you're thinking about a memorial for your loved one, I invite you to stop in and see our large selection of memorials on display. The memorial you choose is crafted for you right here locally with an everlasting warranty. That means it's perfect, now and forever, guaranteed. Call or stop into Fergus Falls Monument or visit us online at foreverstonememorials.com. Memorials that matter.
I once booked a venue that was a logistical nightmare, too far from the hotels and too hard to find. It made our entire event feel rushed and stressful. That's when I decided to try the Bigwood Event Center. Being right off the interstate and a hotel on site, it made travel easy for everyone. They took care of all the setup and cleanup, letting me focus on my presentation instead of the details. It made our event run so much smoother, and I'll never go back to the old way. Meetings with impact begin at bigwoodeventcenter.com.
Keeping you company out on the lakes, the Minnesota Twins, and News Talk 1250 AM KBRF. Depend on it.
Hi, folks. Mark Janowski here of the Treasure Island Baseball Network. Join us today at 2:30 in the afternoon for the pregame show for the Twins' 2025 home opener. They face off against the Houston Astros. It's going to be Joe Ryan versus Hunter Brown right here on your home for Twins baseball.
News Talk 1250 AM KBRF. Depend on it.
Weather can shift quickly and sometimes become dangerous. Listen for the latest weather forecast and the latest reports from the Weather Spotter Network, brought to you by Otter Tail Power Company and Lakes Country Roofing. In the event of severe weather, tune in for up-to-the-minute weather conditions from local weather spotters throughout the area. For power outage information, visit otpco.com. Storm damage to your roof or siding? Visit lakescountryroofing.com. The Weather Spotter Network, brought to you by Otter Tail Power Company and Lakes Country Roofing.
Check out FergusFallsDeals.com for food and drink in the area. We cover it all, and you can save money with places like BFW Post 612 in Fergus Falls, Garden Bar on 6th in Alexandria, Terrace Lanes in Wapaton, Old Town in Clitheroe, Perkins in Fergus Falls, Parallel 46 in Pelican Rapids, and Melby Outpost.
Got a lot of people shopping online and on the go
at FergusFallsDeals.com.
Find out why the markets are moving. Get in-depth ag information with the Red River Farm Network on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Good morning. I'm Jamie Dickerman with a market update here on the Red River Farm Network. President Trump's sweeping tariff announcement yesterday triggering a sharp drop in the U.S. stock markets. Dow Jones Industrial Average tumbled over 1,200 points to start the day, nearly 3% within minutes of the opening bell. The broader S&P 500 sank over 3%. Tech-heavy NASDAQ down over 4%. Overseas markets also down. Trump ordering a minimum 10% tax on nearly all imports starting this weekend, with much higher tariffs on goods from dozens of countries, including some of the United States' closest allies. Allendale Incorporated's Rich Nelson said there may be a silver lining in all this.
It certainly is right. So our tariff discussion is a bit of a concern here for us, especially on U.S. agriculture. One lightly positive note, which is maybe responsible for a small rebound in pricing on the corn and wheat side, is, at least for right now, really no massive new issues against Canada and Mexico, and those are our prime buyers for corn and wheat. So we'll watch these. We'll watch very carefully to see if soybeans are going to hit with any type of China retaliation here.
We are also seeing the livestock markets lower today.
I think right now this is really more of a psychological reaction. And keep in mind, as far as the discussions on the cattle side, we are net importers in cattle on the Canada and Mexico discussion here. The markets are realizing on the beef end of things, at least, that we have, at least for right now, maybe this discussion about no real concern about lower imports of cattle from Canada or Mexico. So on that side, we are a little lower on the beef end. Pork side is still a little concerned, especially as China is maybe one main number we're still watching here.
Dow Jones Industrial Average now down 1,495 points. This is the Red River Farm Network.
Wheat growers of the North, it's time to push performance to answer the call of West-bred wheat. With regionally proven varieties like WB 9590 and WB 9479 with high protein, yield potential, and standability. Trust West-bred wheat to help you get the most out of every acre. Now's the time. Boldly grow. Seize the season with West-bred wheat. Performance may vary. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
When it comes to cereal disease protection, Prosaro Pro 400 SC fungicide from Bayer makes all the difference. With 3 effective active ingredients for overlapping control of foliar and head diseases, and a flexible application window for head scab, it's formulated to lower DON, protect yield potential, and promote superior grain quality. Prosaro Pro, the future of plant health starts here. Visit prosaropro.com to learn more. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions.
Dedicated, dependable, and delivering the information you need. It's Don Wick.
The response from ag groups has been lukewarm at best.
Randy Koenen.
The popularity of biofuels has helped create more demand for crops.
Jamie Dickerman.
Nitrogen prices continue to tick higher.
And Tyler Donaldson.
A weather system is set to move into the region beginning tomorrow.
Whether it's happening in the farm field or the halls of Congress, we deliver the information that impacts you and your business. We're the Red River Farm Network, and we're reporting agriculture's business.
The Red River Farm Network is reporting on the happenings in Bismarck with the North Dakota Legislative Report. Each Friday morning at 6:37, you'll hear from lawmakers and ag leaders. This special coverage made possible by NDFB, Ag Country Farm Credit Services, North Dakota Grain Growers Association, Northern Pulse Growers Association, North Dakota Farmers Union, and the North Dakota Corn Growers Association. The North Dakota Legislative Report, Fridays on the Red River Farm Network.
Looking at the markets right now, we're looking at Minneapolis wheat May. We're up a penny, 593.5. In Chicago, May unchanged at 539.25. Kansas City May, we're up 2 cents, 570.25. May corn is up 1.5, 458.5. December corn down 1.25, 447.5. May soybeans right now down 14.25, 10.15.25. November is down 16 at 10.21.25. April live cattle is down $1.90, 208.47. Feeders, April down 282, 286.05. Lean hogs, April up 55 cents now at 88. This is the Red River Farm Network.
Save big money on your next staining project. Now at Menards. Provide exceptional color to your staining project with Minwax Color Series. It offers a rich color with just one coat. Get a quart of Minwax Color Series wood stain in over 240 colors. On sale now through April 6th. Save big on Minwax wood stains. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
You want to feel important? You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters, and that you can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We felt that way too. I'm Sergeant First Class Daphne Pierre from Robbinsdale, Minnesota, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Minnesota Army National Guard soldiers. We are people just like you, and together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit nationalguard.com/MN to find out more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Army National Guard, aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Community is important, and you'll find it at Pioneer Point. Spacious apartments, thoughtfully designed for older adults, provide the best in senior living. Heated parking and elevator access makes life easy. Your neighbors at Pioneer Point hold a welcoming, family-like approach to living. Choosing from an array of special features and options, you'll find many ways to define your lifestyle at Pioneer Point. Call or schedule your tour online today at pioneercare.org.
Well, the forecast for today, as we go through it, no snow. So that's always fun to say. No snow, at least today. 37 for our high, 26 tonight. Low will hit 38 tomorrow. A little bit of rain and snow mix again tomorrow and into tomorrow night. Not a lot, but a little. 38 tomorrow's time. 38 Saturday, 38 Sunday, 33 on Monday, Tuesday, 46, 55 on Wednesday. And, well, Mary, we keep climbing from there.
Okay, I'll take that. That sounds good to me. So, this snow should be, by this time next week, gonzo, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so too. Well, yeah, this is no surprise that we read this headline. Over half of older Americans feel held back by debt. So, about 72% of Americans over age 55 have accumulated debt. And Gen Xers, baby boomers, and 50% are afraid they will never pay off what they owe.
Oh.
Okay, that's scary.
That's a lot of money.
I do think back to a time, and this was quite a few years ago, where I got into some trouble with a credit card. And I'm not talking about big trouble. I'm talking about maybe $1,800 or something like that. Not serious trouble. But if you can't give up a couple $100 every month, that $1,800 turns into a lot of money in a big hurry. And I just remember how stressful that was.
Yeah.
Like, how can I, and I was always sticking money away. And all I wanted to do was get that debt resolved.
Yeah.
And I think of that not being that big a number, it felt insurmountable at the time. But imagine that you're maybe paying on maybe a vacation home. Maybe you're paying on your own home. Maybe you've got a couple of car payments. It's easy to get, sunk into that. And about 50% say, I don't think I'll get it paid off in my lifetime. Anyway, that is really a scary thing. The Talker Research Survey, this is commissioned by the National Debt Relief, found that 45% of the people who took part in this poll have credit card debt, 30% have mortgage debt, and 71% have credit card debt. They've already said that twice. Anyway, a lot of people have credit card debt. That's just how it goes. But over age 55, they still have mortgage debt.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be because of a lot of things. Anyway, while this research shows many older adults are carrying significant debt into later life, it's never too late for people to make meaningful progress toward their retirement goals and take control of their financial future. Well, that's easier said than done, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that what we all want to do?
Well, I mean, you talked about mortgage debt at 55. I'm going to have mortgage debt at 55. I we didn't buy our house till I was 41.
Right. You got into
Little
them,
late.
yeah, a little bit later than some. And I don't think that's uncommon at all. So
No.
don't feel bad if you're 55 and you still are paying a mortgage because, and it just depends on what the rates are and when you bought, when you sold, and
Luckily, the rates were really good when we bought.
I know you and I were like at the end of the great buying cycle.
We kind of got there just before the bottom
That was
dropped out.
back in the day when you could actually you could offer less than the asking price and you could counter offer. That is no longer the case.
No.
When I take, I love to look at houses.
Mhm.
So, and I had a friend who was looking for a house for a while, and so I got onto some of these real estate sites.
I love Zillow.
Yeah, and even some local realtors will send me when something new comes to their, that they get a new listing. It comes into my inbox, and I love to look at those houses. But when I see what houses cost, and when you take a
It's
look at the house,
crazy.
and unbelievable amounts of money.
I was looking at our neighborhood, and I actually looked at our house, what Zillow says it's worth now, and
Right.
I mean, it's about $100,000 more than what we paid for it.
Yeah, we're the same.
And that's, I don't know, it's been 5-6 years since we
Yeah,
bought.
in fact, if you compare to houses in our neighborhood and that Zillow comparison, it's up about $150,000.
Yeah.
And that's in not even 6 years,
Yeah.
5.5 years for us.
And I looked at other ones in our neighborhood, and I'm like, how is that $100,000 more than our house?
Right.
That's tiny.
Isn't it? It's amazing,
I mean,
but they're still getting it.
Yeah, we got a 4-bedroom,
And they're
2
still
bath.
selling.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is going to change now or not. Even with rates, rates are still up there. They're
Skyrocketing.
still high.
I remember I was talking to somebody who had moved and they had just sold their house, and they said if they were to buy their house with the interest rates they are, it'd be about another $100,000 just in interest over
Yeah.
30 years.
That's the hard thing. You might get great money for selling your house, but the problem is you have to replace it with
Yep.
something. And again, I think you and I were just really lucky. Dave and I got
Yeah.
into our houses pretty
About
close
the
to the
same
same
time,
time. Yeah, and we were just at the end of those great rates, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah,
'Cause
me too.
I'm staying. How about you?
Yeah.
Okay, Wallet Hub has released its report of the healthiest and the unhealthiest cities in America. Want to guess what the leading, and this surprises me, so I'll give you that. The healthiest metropolitan area is
Seattle?
San Francisco.
Oh, that would have been my top 5. I
And
should
and
I
either
should have just kept guessing.
I'm surprised at that.
I figured it had to be a West Coast, and it had to be one of those,
You mentioned Seattle, came in second.
Yep. That was close.
And I take that back. Honolulu second, Seattle third. Anyway, the report examines factors like healthcare access, green spaces, obesity rates, fruit and vegetable consumption, which, of course, Honolulu would be great. There are
Yeah.
lots of good fruits and vegetables there. And spending on parks and recreation. So those are the criteria.
Do they have the list of the bottom?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's see. Others. Let's. Which cities are at the bottom of the list?
I'm gonna guess Mobile, Biloxi, or
You're very close.
Baton Rouge.
Brownsville, Texas.
Okay.
Gulfport, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Those two are at the bottom.
I think Brownsville is going to change a little bit with SpaceX being there. There's going to be a huge
Maybe.
influx of
You're probably right
yuppies.
about that. Yeah, you're probably right about that. All right. Up for some trivia
Always,
today.
always up
Okay,
for the trivia.
this is about music and
Okay.
movies that it goes with. This one you'll get. The song Disco Inferno appeared on the soundtrack of what 1970s movie?
Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, I knew you'd have that one. Evanescence, Bring Me to Life appeared on the soundtrack of which Ben Affleck movie? That's a little harder. There's a lot of movies.
Wow. That song
I've
for
never-
a while was everywhere.
I've never even heard of the movie, so that tells you.
Oh, wow.
It probably doesn't tell you anything. I don't know.
Batman.
Daredevil. Have you heard of that?
Oh, okay. Well, I was close. It was one
You're
of
in,
the
you're in the
superhero.
neighborhood. Yeah, I had not heard. I don't even know what that is.
One of my favorite little one-offs during Deadpool and Wolverine. They see all these variants of all the superheroes and stuff, and Jennifer Gardner reprised her role as Elektra, who was married to
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck at one time, but Elektra was also married to Daredevil, and Ben Affleck played Daredevil.
Oh.
And so he goes, well, if you're here, does that mean Daredevil's here? No, he's already been killed. Oh, I'm sorry for loss. Don't worry about it.
Oh my goodness. All right. How about this? I know you and I have talked about Pop-Tarts
Yep.
a lot. And
Love the
you're-
Pop-Tarts.
And you're okay with that plastic frosting
Yep.
on the top.
You want to know one one strange thing about that?
What?
The frosted ones have less calories than the unfrosted.
Are you kidding?
Nope.
How can that be?
I was
Because there's no
shocked.
calories in plastic, maybe.
Yeah, we gotta be. I was shocked when I saw that. It was like
Speaking-
weird food facts, and it had that pop
Okay,
up.
I'll get back to Pop-Tarts in a minute. So wrangle me back if I
Okay.
go off the rails.
Oh, trust me, I love the Pop Tart. So.
Okay, yeah, we're going to talk Pop-Tarts. But when we talked plastic,
Oh yeah.
I saw a report this morning with regard to plastic, and we all know that they've been telling us don't heat the stuff in the microwave in plastic dishes, that you should always put it
Yep.
in glass or ceramic. But here's something I didn't know. And on a plastic cutting board,
Yep.
what they did is they cut a bunch of stuff up. They cut an onion, and then they, took a look at what was in the onion. You can't believe how much plastic from that board is in the cut onion.
You also have to realize that that's what they were going for. So they may have
I
cut it. They
suppose.
may have cut it a little differently than
Maybe,
more people.
but, I mean, you see all those cuts in that plastic board.
Yeah.
It's going somewhere.
I can see it a little bit being in there, but I think they may have did a little bit of a here. Let me flip it over here to here so you can see. I think
Yeah.
they may have done a little bit extra.
So they're carving into it.
Yeah,
kinda.
carving into it a little
Yeah.
bit just to make sure we prove our
but,
point.
But they also took a look at, here's another thing. This is just giving you more to worry about. Sorry about that. And I'm not going to worry about it because I'm always going to drive through and get a coffee
Mhm.
and not worry about the cup that I'm drinking it out of. But inside that paper cup it's lined with plastic.
Yep.
So now they're saying, ooh, hot liquid in a plastic lined cup. How much of that are you
At some
actually
point, you have to live. You can't
you
just
do
be in
have to
fear.
live. You do have to live. But anyway, I hadn't thought of that.
Yep.
But I do buy into the not heating stuff in
Yeah.
the microwave in plastic. I
Well-
don't like to do that.
Well, let's loop back to Pop Tarts, and then we got to
Okay,
talk
Pop-Tarts.
Easter.
Okay, Pop-Tarts. Here we go. They are launching another collaborative. Guess who they are teaming up with?
Onion.
Girl Scouts.
Oh.
Yes. Gonna create 2 new varieties. Frosted coconut caramel.
Okay.
You would like that one, right?
Yep.
And frosted thin mints.
Those are the 2 Girl Scout cookies I like.
Yeah. Okay, so flavors were inspired by Caramel Delights cookies, also known as Samoas.
Samoas, yeah.
Yep. And of course, they're thin mints. These limited edition toaster pastries will be available nationwide. They'll be like at warehouse clubs like Costco and Sam's Club and that kind of thing. Anyway, so
I may have to try it for science.
for science, of course you will. I did. Hey, did I tell you I bought my first box of Uncrustables?
And how was it?
They're so good. And my grandkids kind of liked that they were in the freezer too. So I only got to eat one of them.
All hail the
Well, there it
Uncrustable.
is. Yeah, I only got to eat one of them. But
This is my lunch today.
I know, but it was really handy. Like one day when my granddaughter called, and this is when her mom was out of town, and we were like, doing dinner and stuff with the kids. And she called and she said, "Hey, Grandma, I forgot my snack at home and needed something between school and practice." And I said, "Yep, I'll load up a bag with some stuff and I'll come right on over." And one of those Uncrustables.
perfect.
I tossed that in and I said, "Do you like these?" And she said, "Oh, that's the best thing in the whole
They
bag."
are. They are so good.
Yeah, so that was kind of a handy thing to have around. Probably not good for me to have them around because, boy, I'd be digging in those all the time.
I have them for breakfast, and sometimes like today where I'm going to be super busy today. I might not be able to leave for lunch. I'm just going to have,
Does that
basically
even take the edge off for a big guy like you?
oh, yeah.
Really?
I don't actually eat all that much.
No, you know what? I don't eat that much at noon. My problem, and I shouldn't do that because I could eat the cupboard doors off the cupboards when I get home at night. And I'm snacking on this and
Mhm.
that, while I'm making dinner. It's just dumb. Anyway, okay, so Easter.
Easter.
So you don't have little enough kids anymore either.
No, we still, I'm trying to remember, I think last year was the first year we didn't do it, or
Color
unless,
Easter eggs.
well, we started something different when I got with Jen. And we don't color the Easter eggs. We did a little bit when Adam and Luke were little, like the first couple years I was with Jen, but we just kind of, it was a mess and they really weren't into it. And so it's like, well, we're
Yeah, if you don't just love this, we're not going to make this
Yeah.
mess. Yeah, I'm with you.
And so when we do the Easter egg hunt and stuff, we use the plastic ones. And then what we do is we put like little treats in there, maybe some money, maybe some candy, some, something like that. And then there's usually a $20 bill in the golden egg.
Yeah, I started. I think it was Ellie when she was working with us got me started on this. You take like one of those cake decorating or like frosting, those decorating bags.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? And fill them with orange cheese balls. And then you tie a green ribbon at the top and it looks like a carrot.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I did for the kids, I think last year, maybe the year before. And then I wrote a dollar amount on each one of those carrots. And then I hid them all over the yard.
Oh, that's
and
cute.
then, yeah, and then they were worth whatever was on the carrot, which doesn't make any difference because everyone has to split the money at the end anyway.
So if you've got an interesting way to do it, or maybe if you're looking at the prices, give us a text to 218-321-1926.
But after you dye the egg, you can still eat them as a hard-boiled egg,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, but
So,
it's even when as a kid, it weirded me out.
yeah, because the egg, yeah,
Because the dye would get through and all of a
it
sudden you're-
would. And it was kind of green and blue inside, kind of weird. Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for hard-boiled eggs. I mean, they've never been my favorite, but
Oh,
I'd
I
eat
love
them.
hard-boiled eggs. I love them.
I mean, I'd eat them. I mean,
So, do you think it will make a difference to people
Oh,
this
yes.
year? I mean, are people buying less eggs? I don't go through a lot of eggs. I don't do a lot of bake. I mean, I use them when I bake. I make chocolate chip cookies for the kids. That's one thing. Other than that, we might fry an egg on a Saturday or Sunday morning. Other than that, I don't use very many eggs.
you'd be surprised how much businesses use eggs. I'm not going to give the
Yes.
exact number because this is going to be next week's poll question
Okay.
is how many eggs do you think the Viking Cafe
Oh my
goes through
gosh, I
on a daily
can't
basis?
even
And
imagine.
I know the amount, and
It's staggering.
when Pat told me, I was like, wow. And he goes, well, you got to remember, we use them for just eggs. We use them for the omelets. We use them for French toast. And we use them for pancakes.
Yes.
And I'm like, holy cow. Because,
I
I mean,
know.
I throw out my guess, and I was off by during this time of year, because there's two different numbers. There's like during the winter time, and then there's during the summer. During the winter time, I maybe had a third of it, and then during the summertime, I was a quarter of it.
Okay.
I mean, I was off
So
that
you were
much.
off that
I was
much.
off way off.
Okay. Wow.
And I'll
I
tell you
can
off the air what the numbers are, and you'll be like, wow.
I can hardly. I can only imagine. I know my daughter and her kids. I mean, I think they eat eggs just about every morning, and she's got two big boys,
Yeah.
growing boys, and they go through a lot of eggs. I think they could be chicken people. You know, that that might make sense for them.
We go through a decent amount of eggs. I'm not going to say a ton, but we have scrambled eggs or eggs for dinner sometimes.
Okay.
With stuff, obviously French toast and
Yeah.
omelets.
Yeah. Yeah. We just don't go through that many. I don't know why I don't, because I like them. I just
Oh yeah.
don't often think of. I don't know. I run out in the morning and I a
Jen
lot of
makes
times.
egg bake a lot.
Oh, I love egg bake. I
So
love it.
yeah,
Now I could have that for like an evening meal. I could eat egg bake.
we do that for breakfast,
Yeah, I could do
or
it.
sometimes like brunch, lunch,
Yeah,
late
yeah.
lunch.
I love egg bake. I add too many bad things that make my egg bake not very healthy by the end.
You mean things that make it taste good?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Now it's interesting because one of the differences between my mom's egg bake and my wife's is Jen puts croissant dough at the bottom
I love it already.
and then builds it up. My mom doesn't do that, and it took me a while to get used to because it kind of weirded me out at first.
Oh, anytime you add croissant, anything.
It was just all of a
Or
sudden.
have you had ones that have like the canned biscuits. I've had those too in there, and that's so good. Of course, add bread, add carbs, and I'm gonna love it.
Well, I mean, I usually just get some toast with some butter on it, and then just chop it up and put it on there.
Okay. Well, boy, you're making me hungry. And then you said Viking. Wow.
Oh yeah, the Viking
thanks a
Cafe.
lot.
We'll talk a little bit about their specials a little bit later on.
Okay.
Next hour.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, I can't believe it is Thursday. And if you look outside and you're bummed out by the snow, don't be, because this time next week you're gonna, and hopefully that is going to be the start of spring.
Want to know the best thing, Mary? The thing that's going to make you smile.
What's
the
that?
thing that's making you go maybe palm your forehead.
What's that?
Today is the Minnesota Twins home opener.
I know. Okay. So I saw a little report on that this morning, and are they going to play?
As far as I know, I have not gotten an email
So
or
what
text.
do they do? Do they cover they've had the field covered?
Most likely. Now, the thing is, when it comes to, I was talking to Derek about this, anytime there's a home opener or season opener, they always have one day and then the next day off. So if they need to push it back, they'll push it back to tomorrow. However, Learfield, who carries the Twins on the radio side, text me or will send me an email if there's a change. So
okay. And you haven't heard?
I haven't gotten a text or
It's a
email
3 o'clock game?
At 3:15.
Okay.
2:30 pregame, 3:15 first pitch on Newstalk 1250
We'll
KBRF.
have it
You're
right
home
here.
for Minnesota Twins baseball.
All right. Well, let's go. I hope they get to play it. That'll make everybody feel like, I don't know what Minneapolis got for snow.
Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully they get to play. And if you
Yeah.
haven't heard by now, I think no news, good news, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's not even go there. You and I should not talk about weather. It's our fault.
Knock on wood.
All right, coming up on 10 o'clock, that is going to do it for another week. Our show today and every day brought to us by Pioneer Care and by Fergus Falls Monument Company. We hope you have a great weekend.